Sunrise, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And Boilermaker Week is turning out to be a nice one so far, right?
Yeah, not too bad out there. In fact, it's a dry start today. Temperature is a little cooler, and it feels a little less humid out there. And let's take a look at those temperatures again. We are starting out in the 60s across much of the area. Mostly cloudy skies, some peaks of clearing taking place, especially as you head up north of the thruway. Either way, downtown Utica, there's that overcast. We see that glimpse of the clearing right out there heading down Route 5. And the radar, again, looking mainly quiet. We zoom out. There are some downpours, heavy downpours taking place in parts of the Hudson Valley heading toward downstate. So not all of New York State is dry early today, and not all of New York State is expected to remain dry throughout the day today. We are looking at mainly dry conditions, a mix of sun and clouds and temperatures in the low to mid 80s. But with the humidity expected to rise again this afternoon, isolated downpours can't be ruled out. Now, it will be few and far between today, a little more likely tomorrow and Friday, but the next few days likely not to be washouts. We're going to track those rain chances plus any updates on Boilermaker Sunday in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. New this morning, a flash flood emergency has hit an area in New Mexico that was just devastated by wildfires last year. The town of Ruidoso saw extreme flooding on Tuesday after heavy rain fell on areas burned in the blazes. The flood swept away homes, forced water rescues, and closed several roadways. Emergency crews carried out at least 85 swift water rescues in the Ruidoso area, including people who were trapped in their homes and cars. At least 3 people have been reported missing in that area. And the flooding in New Mexico follows the deadly flooding in Texas. This morning, there is new troubling insight. Now, for the first time, officials are sharing the daunting number of those presumed to be missing. More than 170 across the entire flood zone, 161 of them right in hard-hit Kerr County. NBC's Jay Gray has been on the ground there for days and joins us now with more. Jay?
Good morning, and here along the Guadalupe River, first responders beginning what is the 6th day of searching through the debris, through the rubble, the overwhelming number of missing they're looking for, a gut punch to a community already reeling. As the massive search effort continues, this stunning revelation from Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Just in the Kerr County area alone, there are 161 people who are known to be missing.
More than 170 unaccounted for across the entire flood zone. This tragedy defined by the staggering numbers, more than 110 dead.
I've lost friends, true friends, and we've lost precious families, precious children. I wish to God there was a way we could have warned them.
There are growing questions, tension, and frustration over whether there was adequate staffing at the National Weather Service and timely warnings before the storm and as the water started to rise. There is no debate about how difficult the cleanup and recovery here will be or how vital volunteers are as that process begins.
But we had 33 angels show up on Sunday out of nowhere.
Gutting his flood-ravaged home, cutting away soaked sheetrock, clearing out the waterlogged remnants of his life before the storm.
It's just, totally different aspect of volunteering and paying it forward. I don't know where people show up, just wanting to help. That's just amazing.
An effort many consider a responsibility and privilege.
Just to be Texans and just coming together and doing what we need to do.
With this part of Texas battered and hurting. Yeah, and this really just the start of what's sure to be a difficult recovery, and many here are going to need a lot of help along the way. Jay Gray, NBC News, Kerrville.
Here in New York State, the National Weather Service has now confirmed an EF2 tornado touchdown in western New York. People in Phelps, outside of Rochester, have been cleaning up since Monday night. Roofs were ripped off, trees ripped out of the ground, but fortunately, No one was hurt. For comparison purposes, the tornado that struck Rome back on July 16th of last year was also an EF2. The Richfield Springs Zoning Board of Appeals.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise in the middle of the week on this Wednesday. Time now is 5:11. As you head out the door today, we're expecting mainly quiet conditions. In fact, almost completely quiet conditions. Some fog starting to form in from our vantage point here on Smith Hill and Deerfield, but mainly due to those low-lying clouds. As you can see right here in downtown Utica, glimpse of some clearing before clouds moved in Oneonta and overcast skies in Cooperstown. So the traffic tracker mainly green across the board early today, and as we take a look at the radar at this time, it's quiet for the most part. Showers and downpours heading through the Hudson Valley. So what can you expect today? Well, you don't quite need those sunglasses this morning. It's generally cloudy, temperatures in the 60s. We climb into the upper 70s, eventually low to mid 80s this afternoon as a mix of sun and clouds move in. And yes, an isolated downpour can't be ruled out. We'll explain those chances plus the rainfall chances looking ahead to the end of the week coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Tuesday's extreme heat down in New Jersey was anything but ideal for the players.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. We got some low-lying clouds out there, as you just saw in the tower cam. Underneath those clouds, overcast skies. In fact, what we're tracking today, aside from the early start of cloudy and foggy conditions, downpour storm chances the next couple of days, but they're not steady and widespread. To give you a clarification on what we're expecting between now through Friday, humidity sticks around. We're not going to say goodbye to it anytime soon, and we do have an update on the Boilermaker weekend and how it's trending so far. Again, here's a live look at Oneonta. Low-lying clouds early today, temperatures in the low 60s. In fact, the only pockets of central New York that are seeing close to comfortable levels of humidity right up here. Those dew points in Lewis County, in northern Oneida, northern Herkimer County are in the upper 50s, but we'll see that humidity begin to return again throughout the day. The highest levels of humidity are down here near Poughkeepsie. That's where, of course, those downpours are taking place. And as we warm up throughout the day, those rain chances, or at least the humidity levels, continue to rise. So here's what I mean by sudden downpour but not washout material. Look at the rainfall accumulation map here. Notice how many dry spots are in between these downpours that have maybe half an inch to an inch of rainfall. That's what we're tracking between now through Friday. Now today, the rain chances very low, if not close to zero, but still non-zero. So I want to let you guys know about that ahead of time. The reason for it, we have a broad area of low pressure and a surge of some south winds ushering in some increased humidity before that cold front moves through heading into Friday into early Saturday. So because of that, that's what's bringing in these rainfall chances. So today, a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon, temperatures in the low to mid 80s. You can see here a chance of a downpour firing up here and there. Tomorrow, a better shot for a downpour, but also a better shot for sunshine as a mix of downpours and overall unsettled conditions pass through our area as that weak area of low pressure moves over central New York. Friday, same story, a mix of sun and downpours throughout the day. And then eventually things will dry out as we head into Friday night and into early Saturday. But of course, if Saturday looks dry, how does Boilermaker Sunday look? And here's a look at the preview here. And as I mentioned yesterday, we were banking more on the lines of this possibility here for the morning hours. And what was once a widespread rainfall on this model here is now shifted more toward this solution as expected. So what we're looking at is a warm, humid start to the race with rain showers developing in the afternoon. It is trending later, which is great news for those of you heading to the post-race party. It looks to be arriving closer to the mid to late afternoon. Still, though, temperatures today in the 80s, mostly dry, isolated downpour, 7-day forecast. We're in the 80s the next several days. We warm up into typical, in fact, slightly above average July-like weather. And still, it's not too bad, Gary. Yeah, there's rain chances here and there, but plenty of sunshine opportunity as well. Overall, nothing I can really complain about the next 7 days. Looking pretty nice.
Yep, that's for sure. Eric, thanks. Well, hopefully it's not too hot once again, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Liberatore. Meteorologist Eric Gage over in the Weather Center tracking some possible rain. When are we talking, Eric?
We're talking maybe in the afternoon, but these rain showers, isolated, few and far between. In fact, a lot more dry weather than rainfall today, which is the good news there, Gary. A look at the temperatures out there this morning. We're in the 60s for much of central New York. The warmest spots, of course, down in the Hudson Valley, 73 Poughkeepsie, where that humidity is also sticking around in full force as well. A look at downtown Utica, cloudy skies early today, generally quiet as well. We are tracking, of course, some downpours as you head down into, again, the Hudson Valley, eventually in Massachusetts and Connecticut area. That's where it's heading, not heading in our area. So for now, it's looking mainly dry. So what can you expect today? Cloudy skies turning to a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon, and temperatures climbing into the low to mid 80s. Now, as I mentioned, isolated downpour can't be ruled out. We have a better shot for those rain chances tomorrow and Friday. We'll track those coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. President Trump talking tariffs.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Before we get to that photo of the day today, I want to share with you guys a map that we've compiled with the tornadoes so far this year. Now, last year you probably saw how busy this map was. We had the most tornadoes ever in New York State history, confirmed tornadoes. And this year we're already up to 5. Now, we are still slightly behind the numbers here. In fact, greatly behind the numbers in 2025 or 2024. But what I will say this, what's causing these tornadoes? Well, for one, increased detection. We have better radar technology, better ability to even survey them with drones and whatnot. We didn't have this technology 20, 25 years ago. And on top of that, just a mix of active weather patterns and overall warming temperatures. A lot of these surges of sheer heat and humidity, even from the remnants of Hurricane Beryl last year, those are what caused some of the tornado outbreaks here in New York State. But again, so far, 5 this year. I hope it doesn't get anywhere nearly as high as last year. Our photo of the day today takes us to Utica. Shout out to those of you watching in Utica this morning, and what a photo right here. Red, White, and Bushy-tailed was the title here, sent in by Lazur Photography, a frequent submitter of photos here. Just an amazing shot, adorable shot right here. You have one like this you'd like to share with us, send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Gary?
Thanks, Rogers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Today we are tracking mainly dry weather, isolated downpour potential this afternoon, and along with that too, a mix of sun and clouds. So I got somewhat a mixed bag of weather the next few days. And so what we're tracking, downpour and storm chances, but I want to clarify, these are not steady and widespread. I'll get to that in a second here. The humidity does stick around. Yes, some spots this morning waking up to slightly comfortable levels, especially those of you north of the Thruway, but that'll change this afternoon. And some updates on the trends for Boilermaker weekend, especially Boilermaker Sunday. We'll get to that here in a minute as well. Still, though, cloudy skies outside. Oneonta temperature of 63 degrees. Much of the area waking up to the 60s with just low-lying clouds and moisture out there early today. Downpours in the Hudson Valley officially exiting New York State in the next 15 to 20 minutes. And with those downpours to our south, here's what I mean by not a washout, but sudden downpours here and there. Look at the rainfall pockets you can see scattered over New York State. Again, these aren't widespread, but in between sunshine and dry weather, some spots could pick up half an inch of rainfall in the span of 15-20 minutes. And so we're going to closely watch these downpour and storm chances over the next few days. Today, again, it's not a high one, but we can't run any of them out, especially later on this afternoon. The reason for it, we got a weak area of low pressure, which is going to bring unsettled conditions. Not a major weather driver, but it's just enough to, with the increased humidity levels, produce a few of these scattered, isolated downpours. So we look at the skycast today. You see how it's mostly dry, and then watch one of these downpours begin to fire up. It's quick. You can see it briefly there. And although it's not expected to immediately fall south of Utica, it could pop up here and there throughout the afternoon. Still, though, we head into tomorrow, sunshine moving in, but still, we've got these downpour chances here and there. Again, can't rule them out. Friday, same story, mainly dry, temperatures in the 80s with a few isolated downpours here and there. And those temperatures climbing. We get into the 80s to the mid to upper 80s by Friday evening. And so, updates on Boilermaker weekend, especially Boilermaker Sunday here. This is 8 a.m., a snapshot. And yesterday, this is a lot more rainfall. Now it's trending more like what we were expecting to happen, which is right here, which is a warm, humid, dry morning, followed by rain shower chances in the afternoon. And those are even trending later on in the day. 83 the high today, mostly cloudy, isolated downpour. Your 7-day forecast, warming up slowly into the weekend. It's going to be in the mid to upper 80s Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a very warm one. So again, if you are heading out to the Boilermaker, although we're going to fine-tune those rainfall chances, it's going to be a warm and humid one. So maybe you want to do some practicing in the heat and humidity before you attempt it. So
and definitely, if you're going out to cheer them on, bring some water for you.
Yes, make sure you stay hydrated.
That's for sure. Eric, thanks. Air travel may be...
The news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And Boilermaker week shaping up not too bad so far, but you're keeping an eye on some rain.
Yeah, and these rain chances are going to be few and far between, a lot more sunshine expected, so not too bad of a stretch, Gary. Outside this morning, again, it is a dry start, slightly cooler than the past few days. Humidity levels down a little bit, but we're going to see that humidity rise throughout the day today and for the next several days as you warm up quickly into the 80s. So downtown Utica, overcast skies early this morning. It is again, relatively quiet start. Any downpours are actually taking place outside the Hudson Valley, now officially entering Massachusetts and the northwestern portion of Connecticut. So today, yes, it's overcast for the most part this morning. We will see some partial clearing this afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds, temperatures in the low to mid 80s. Yes, we can't also rule out an isolated downpour. We'll explain those rain chances plus the rainfall chances looking ahead to tomorrow and Friday coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. New this morning, a flash flood emergency has hit an area in New Mexico that was just devastated by wildfires last year. The town of Ruidoso saw extreme flooding on Tuesday after heavy rain fell on areas burned in the blazes last year. The flood swept away homes and forced water rescues. Emergency crews carried out at least 85 swift water rescues in the Ruidoso area, including people who were trapped in their homes and cars. At least 3 people have been reported missing in that area. And the flooding in New Mexico follows the deadly flooding in Texas this week. And this morning, there is new troubling insight. Now, for the first time, officials are sharing the daunting number of those presumed to be missing. More than 170 still missing across the entire flood zone, 161 of them in hard-hit Kerr County. NBC's Jay Gray has been on the ground there for days and joins us now with more. Jay?
Good morning, and here along the Guadalupe River, first responders beginning what is the 6th day of searching through the debris, through the rubble, the overwhelming number of missing they're looking for. A gut punch to a community already reeling. As the massive search effort continues, this stunning revelation from Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Just in the Kerr County area alone, there are 161 people who are known to be missing.
More than 170 unaccounted for across the entire flood zone. This tragedy defined by the staggering numbers, more than 110 dead.
I've lost friends. True friends. And we've lost precious families, precious children. I wish to God there was a way we could have warned them.
There are growing questions, tension, and frustration over whether there was adequate staffing at the National Weather Service and timely warnings before the storm and as the water started to rise. There is no debate about how difficult the cleanup and recovery here will be or how vital volunteers are as that process begins.
But we had 33 angels show up on Sunday out of nowhere.
Gutting his flood-ravaged home, cutting away soaked sheetrock, clearing out the waterlogged remnants of his life before the storm.
It's just, totally different aspect of volunteering and paying it forward. I don't know where people show up, just wanting to help. That's just amazing.
An effort many consider a responsibility and privilege.
Just to be Texans and just coming together and doing what we need to do.
With this part of Texas battered and hurting. Yeah, and this really just the start of what's sure to be a difficult recovery, and many here are going to need a lot of help along the way. Jay Gray, NBC News, Kerrville.
Here in New York State, the now confirmed an EF2 tornado touchdown in western New York. People in Phelps, right outside of Rochester, have been cleaning up since Monday night. Roofs were ripped off, trees ripped out of the ground. Fortunately, though, no one was hurt. For comparison purposes, the tornado that struck Rome back in July of last year was also an EF2. The Richfield Springs Zoning Board of Appeals hosted a
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back. Time now is 6:11. As you head outside today, temperatures are a little cooler than yesterday morning, in the 60s early today, but it's a dry start. Look at some area cameras out here. Of course, we've got dry conditions all across pretty much all of central New York, with cloudy skies persisting. And our traffic tracker showing mainly quiet conditions, a slowdown right along the Route 20, Route 51 connection down near East Winfield. We'll keep a close eye on that. For now, nothing's popping up with any accident report, but does appear to be a slowdown there. Radar indicating a north wind at play here near the surface. You can see the overall trend of that wind moving its way south. But besides that, the rainfall is actually staying to our south and east so far early this morning. Besides that, although it's a dry start with mostly cloudy skies, a mix of sun and clouds are expected this afternoon with the potential for an isolated downpour. We're going to track that potential as well as the rainfall chances for tomorrow and Friday coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Tuesday's extreme heat down in New Jersey.
You've got your back. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody, on this Wednesday. Today starts out dry, cloudy, but this afternoon will it stay the same? We'll take a look at what we can expect throughout your Wednesday. First off, downpour and storm chances are possible today through Friday, but they are not expected to be steady and widespread. I'll get to the reason for that here in a minute, but what I mean by it is that we're tracking mainly dry weather with a chance for some of these to fire up here and there. So not complete washouts or rainfall from sunrise to sunset. Humidity sticks around for the near term, although there's some spots this morning, especially north of the Thruway, waking up to lower humidity levels. That continues to rise. Plus some updates on the Boilermaker weekend forecast, including, of course, all-important Boilermaker Sunday. So, live look at Oneonta today, cloudy skies, temperatures in the 60s. Radar picking up on some of that north wind moving in early this morning, but that'll switch up throughout the day as we get a surge of humidity in from the south and from the west. Still, though, the only notable rain showers here in New York State, of course, exiting the state entirely right now. So here's what I mean by downpour chances not widespread. Look at these pockets of downpours expected over the next couple of days. Some spots, half an inch to an inch of rainfall mixed in with little to no rainfall, if that. That's the nature of this weather pattern here. We got this broad area of weak low pressure, which is going to fire up disorganized clusters of downpours and storms. Tomorrow, a couple of them could have some stronger wind gusts, but today the biggest risk would just be a sudden heavy downpour. Either way, things dry up as a front moves through Friday, and we'll actually track a pretty nice Saturday so far here locally. So we zoom in here in the Skycast. Here's how our Skycast is picturing today to shape up. We've got clouds, peaks of sun and clouds here and there, an isolated downpour that can't be ruled out. Then tonight, mainly quiet. Tomorrow, sunshine, and then again, some storm and downpour chances here and there. We'll closely watch the behavior of some of these slow-moving systems. Then Friday, again, same story here. You got those isolated downpour chances mixed in with sun and clouds. And then lastly, a preview of Boilermaker Sunday. It has trended like what we expected yesterday, with a warm, humid, dry start, followed by some showers and maybe a few downpours and thunderstorms in the afternoon. We'll closely track that, of course, over the next couple of days. Today's high of 83, mostly dry, isolated downpour this afternoon. And then again, it's looking somewhat unsettled Thursday and Friday, but plenty of opportunity for sunshine. Temperatures looking very warm, Gary. We're not looking at any 60s or 50-degree highs. We're saying goodbye to all that cool weather. It's a very warm one for the next few days.
That's for sure. We're all keeping our eye on Sunday as that day approaches quickly.
Yes.
Eric, thanks. Hopefully, though, it's not too hot today to warm up the oven because today is National. Once again, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Libator. Things are starting out dry this morning, but will we see some rain later today? Meteorologist Eric Gage over in the Weather Center. And Eric, how much rain are we talking?
Not a whole lot. Well, actually, I should say a little more clarification here. Not everyone sees the rainfall. In fact, take a look right here at the current conditions. We're in the 60s right now with mostly cloudy skies. In fact, generally overcast skies across the area. But what I mean by not everyone sees the rainfall is there's potential for an isolated downpour today. So those that do see the rain today could see their own fair share of it. But again, most of us will be seeing dry conditions, a mix of sun and clouds. Outside this morning, though, it is almost entirely dry out there with that north wind. You can see it move through parts of the area early today, but that'll switch up throughout the morning. As you can see here, some downpours out to our south and to our east outside of our area. We'll see that humidity surge in and temperatures climb from the 60s up into the low to mid 80s this afternoon. And although, again, you can see here, icons showing just clouds, or at least mostly cloudy skies. A downpour can't be ruled out, not only for today, but also for tomorrow and Friday. We'll talk about those rain chances, why we're looking at downpours, not widespread rain. I'll explain the trend for that, plus that Boilermaker weekend forecast in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. President Trump talking tariffs.
Tracker 2 team, where we track storms. This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise. With the confirmed EF2 in western New York yesterday, this brings our total tornado count in New York State up to 5 for this year. Now, how does this compare to last year? Last year was record-setting. We actually are about 3 tornadoes ahead of the curve compared to last year on this day. We had 1 in February of 2024 and 1 in June. But a day from now, tomorrow, the July 10th tornado outbreak took place, and that ushered in the first of several outbreaks here in New York State, which of course would bring us behind average for 2024. So if you're wondering, how is it trending so far this year? Yes, technically we have more tornadoes now than before, but we're going to quickly fall behind that curve following tomorrow. So the trend of these tornadoes, active weather patterns, warmer temperatures, and just overall better detection, especially in the past 10 to 15 years, with dual polarization radar, drone video able to capture these damage paths. So if you're wondering why, well, those are the basic reasons as to why. Still, our photo of the day, on a brighter note here, red, white, and bushy tail, taken in Utica by Lazur Photography. Amazing photo right here, very adorable, with the American flag waving in the background. If you have a photo like this you'd like to share with us, send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Rogers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. We are tracking clouds and a dry start today. Temperatures in the 60s. Chance for an isolated downpour this afternoon. On top of that, even more chances tomorrow and Friday. And I want to clarify with what we're tracking for the next few days that these downpour and storm chances are not steady and widespread. So yes, there could be heavy rain and thunder inside some of these, but not everyone sees them. You guys luck of the draw here, and I'll explain why here in a second. Humidity sticks around. We're not saying goodbye to it, at least for the short term, heading into the weekend and beyond. And also an update on the Boilermaker weekend forecast. Still, though, live look in Oneonta, it is a cloudy start to your day today. Temperatures in the 60s with low-lying moisture here in the Mohawk Valley and beyond. Potentially maybe some light drizzle here and there, but that's really about it when it comes to rainfall activity. Any intense rainfall is well out to our east. And when it comes to downpour potential between now through Friday, here's what I mean by not everyone sees them. You can see some of these downpours firing up, and they look like little pockets or pimples here on the state of New York here. And these have half an inch of rainfall, some of these even more in those downpours. And in between them, dry weather. So these are not expected to be widespread, but it's luck of the draw whether you get them or not. Why is that the case? Well, we're not seeing an organized system moving through our area. It's a relatively broad area of weak low pressure. Look at all those little L's here. That means there's no well-defined low pressure system. But then it begins to organize by Friday. That front moves through, and then things dry up. So when it comes to rain chances today, again, after some clouds, maybe some light drizzle, we dry out this afternoon, mix of sun and clouds, and then here you see right here, isolated downpour, not necessarily those exact locations, but you see what I mean with the frequency of them throughout the day. Tomorrow, a better shot for them, maybe even some stronger wind gusts inside some of these, at least when it comes to thunderstorm potential. But still, again, sunshine mixed in with a few downpours here and there. Friday, same story. And then as we head into Friday night, that cold front moves through and will dry up a little bit. So when it comes to Boilermaker Sunday, what we are looking at is a trend closer to a dry start, a humid and warm start, by the way, with rainfall developing throughout the afternoon, moving into the evening. So the rainfall is trending later, something to keep an eye out for, though, as we pay attention to the forecast beyond today through the end of the week. 83 the high today, mostly dry, isolated downpour, and the next few days, Gary, not too bad. 80s with, rain and storm chances here and there, but still opportunity for sunshine. Not too bad of a stretch.
Yeah, watch out for those isolated downpours.
Yes.
All day long. Eric, thanks. Air travel may be
News with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on Boilermaker Wednesday. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
So many people out there just tuning into your forecast day by day because it's changing, right?
Yes, and luckily for the better, as long as the showers and storms hold off until the evening after the post-race party, the all-important post-race party, that's the most important thing. Still, though, today we're starting to see that heat and humidity return again, and it's going to remain relatively warm and humid for the foreseeable future, including Boilermaker weekend. Temperatures in the upper 70s right now. We're expected to reach the low to mid 80s by this afternoon. And you can see here the backdrop of downtown Utica. This is indicative of a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Maybe not so much all near the surface, but you've got all these clouds in multiple different levels. You've got stratus clouds, alto clouds, even cirrus clouds way up in the sky. Means a lot of moisture. So we can see some of this on the radar right here. A couple of these downpours, or at least rain showers, out in the southern tier. These are going to fall apart a little bit as they move into our area, but convective downpours are possible, especially by the evening hours today. So again, this afternoon, mainly dry, a mix of sun and clouds like we saw out there today, and the potential for an isolated downpour. We have a better shot for those over the next few days. We're going to track those, plus, again, the latest forecast for the Boilermaker coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Well, they cannot seem to get a break. In Ruidoso, mountain town was hit by devastating wildfires last year and overnight slammed with dangerous flooding. NBC's Steve Patterson is in Ruidoso with the details.
Yeah, the sun has now come up, giving us eyes on the devastation. Obviously, scenes like the one behind me are everywhere. This car into this home, but looking further down this neighborhood, this community devastated. This was simply too much rain, too fast, causing the devastating flooding that you're seeing. There should be homes in the foreground, but they are simply uprooted and gone. Neighbors taking video of homes, that same scene repeating, homes lifted up off of their roots and wiped away on these raging floodwaters. Part of the conditions were because of last year's devastating South Fork fire. That fire killed 2 people, burned hundreds of homes, but really sort of created these deep-seated burn scars, pathways for this floodwater to really rush down. And we know it's so far killed at least 3 people, 1 man in his 40s or 50s, a 7-year-old boy, a 4-year-old girl. We're going to learn a whole lot more as the day progresses. Back to you.
NBC's Steve Patterson reporting from New Mexico. And in central Texas, the search for the missing after last weekend's devastating flooding goes on. A huge deployment of manpower and machinery has been called on to scour the hardest hit areas along the Guadalupe River. NBC's Jay Gray has more from Kerrville, Texas.
Well, look, it's day 6 of the search, the rescue and recovery effort here. They're adding more assets, 4 Black Hawk helicopters now in the mix, along with more drones, high-profile military vehicles to get into some of the hardest hit areas. We now know, according to the governor of the state, Greg Abbott, that those teams that are searching through areas like this one along the Guadalupe here are looking for more than 170 people still unaccounted for those family members who are in limbo right now, waiting to understand what's going on. They spend their days going to funeral homes here, to hospitals which are serving as makeshift morgues, trying to find any information they can. The governor talked about those families.
There's nothing more important on our hearts and minds than the people of this community, especially those who are still lost. Know this: we will not stop until every missing person is accounted for. Know this also: there very likely could be more added to that list.
And clearly, that's a process that's going to take some time, just with the sheer numbers of how many are still missing here. Another difficult process, the cleanup and recovery, which is just beginning. And really a lot of help coming in that regard from volunteers, hundreds, not only from across the state, but around the country, just drawn here to help so many families who are struggling right now. That's the latest from here in Kerrville. I'm Jay Gray, NBC News.
The National Weather Service has confirmed an EF2 tornado touched down this week in western New York. People in Phelps, right outside of Rochester, have been cleaning up since Monday night. Roofs were ripped off, trees out of the ground, but fortunately no one was hurt. And for comparison purposes, the tornado that struck Rome in July of last year was also an EF2. A plea deal has been reached in the case of 2
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody, on this Wednesday. Today, initially we started with cloudy skies, mainly dry weather, and so far it's holding. Take a live look at downtown Utica, and those are those puffy clouds out in the distance, and a lot of clouds way up in the sky, but also still some partial clearing out there early today. 76, the official temperature at Griffiths and Rome. Humidity levels slowly rising, and we'll hit that eventually very humid category later on this evening. Radar is dry across the Mohawk Valley in central New York. We turn our attention to the south and to the west. These were a few of these showers developing. Again, we can't rule any shower out today, unlike yesterday, which is mostly dry. Still, though, when it comes to rainfall, this is what we mean by sporadic or spotty isolated downpours. Take a look at this rainfall accumulation map here. Notice how these pockets of downpours look like they're pimples here on the map. They're not widespread, they're just pockets of 1.5 inches to 1 inch of rainfall. That's what we're expecting the next few days. What causes this type of scenario? Well, the main thing is we have a broad area of low pressure. Look at all these L icons here. There's no well-defined central area, which means that there's a lot of instability, a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and just inconsistent lifting in the atmosphere, which is what causes these pop-up showers to develop. Either way, they become more organized and exit our area as early as Friday, which will usher in some drier weather later on in the day. So here in our Skycast, initial clouds gave way to a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon. High temperatures in the low to mid 80s with those isolated downpour chances. It dries out for the most part tonight. Tomorrow, a little more sunshine, but also a better chance for a shower, even a thunderstorm. Just a heads up, there's potential for them to form later on in the afternoon. We'll be closely watching the radar throughout the process of this. Then Friday, same story. Sunshine, 80s, and some pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Then we dry out for the most part Friday night. And then by Saturday, we'll see the arrival of some more dry weather. So, Boilermaker preview. How's the latest trench looking like? Well, we have a few clouds in the forecast initially with temperatures in the upper 60s, low 70s to start. And we're leaning more towards this solution right here, which is leaning toward, again, a dry morning followed by an unsettled afternoon, unsettled evening. Either way, we'll closely watch that forecast as the days get closer. Today's high 83, mostly dry, isolated downpour. 7-day forecast looking very warm the next few days, feeling very July-like as we enter mid-July, Gary. A peak of summertime here locally. Of course, the Boilermaker will continue to watch that forecast and hope the rain showers hold off.
At least till late afternoon,
yes.
Right? Eric, thanks. Well, more than 2.5 million passengers fly. Meteorologist Eric Gage joining us now. And Eric, a gorgeous shot of downtown Utica right here. The sky's a little cloudy.
A little cloudy, yeah, but you can really see the amount of moisture in the atmosphere here at this time. In fact, let's take a look at the temperatures here. We begin in the 70s. So far today, we started out in the 60s, now we're in the 70s, pushing the low to mid 80s in the next few hours. But we also have, again, a lot of moisture in the atmosphere near the surface, all the way up to several tens of thousands of feet way up in the sky. So when you have a setup like this, yes, it's dry right now, but we take a look at the radar here and we actually zoom out and we can see there's still some activity going on to our south and to our west. These could fire up, and yes, these could produce some rain showers today. Isolated pockets, maybe even south of the Mohawk Valley. Still, these are going to behave on their own. At least most of them are taking place south of Route 20 at this time. So, what it means for us today, mainly dry, isolated shower. Temperatures in the low to mid 80s. By tonight, it quiets down. We're going to track more rain chances, at least tomorrow and Friday. Beyond that, how is the weekend looking? We'll have all that and more in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. A Verona man is facing charges accused.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today, starting out on the drier side, we're going to slowly see the increase in temperature and humidity between now through the coming weekend. Downtown Utica outside, we got some blue skies working their way in, but still expect a mix of sun and clouds today. We're not going to see a lot more blue skies than not. But what I can tell you is that humidity is on the rise. Temperatures slowly climbing into the low to mid 80s. So we're going to see a lot of that summer-like feel in the weather begin to move in. And due to that increased humidity in the atmosphere, we had the potential for a shower, maybe even a downpour to pass over us. We're not entirely rain-free today. Just a heads up that you might encounter a passing shower or downpour, especially this afternoon. In fact, with some of these downpours and showers, you can see that a lot of these are even widespread. They're spotty in nature, pops here and there of rain in the atmosphere. Some of these pockets picking up an inch, inch and a half, 2 inches of rainfall, and in the midst of it, dry pockets. It's luck of the draw. The reason why there's no certainty for the location of these is pretty straightforward here. We've got this broad area of low pressure. See all these L icons? Those are very weak centers of low pressure in the area. In a strong setup, that'd be just one L. When there's a lot of them, it means it's weak. And in the process, there's basically a lot of movement in the atmosphere. A little lifting here, a little sinking here. It's disorganized, to put it in simpler terms. And that means that we've just got these pockets of downpours here and there between now through Friday. Then things dry up as we head into Saturday, and most importantly, what happens Sunday morning for Boilermaker. Let's take a look here on the Skycast. So again, a mix of sun and clouds today, temperatures in the low to mid 80s, a passing downpour possible, then quiet tonight. Tomorrow, similar story, a little more sun than clouds. Then these downpours, even some thunderstorms fire up. And a heads up tomorrow that maybe one or two of them could fire up on the stronger side. And there's not any rhyme to reason for them, but still we're going to be keeping a close eye on them as they develop. Then as they push their way east, we got one more day of a pop-up shower or downpour possibility on Friday, especially in the evening hours south of Route 20. Then we dry out Saturday morning, and then most importantly, it dries up through the start of Boilermaker Sunday. So for now, we're looking at a dry start, a warm and humid one. It's going to be a hot one in the afternoon. So maybe prepare for the higher humidity and warmer temperatures. And thankfully, a lot of the storm activity and rainfall activity stay to our west until the evening hours. So fingers crossed it holds that way. For now, that's what we're expecting. Today, though, 80s, mostly dry, an isolated downpour possible in your 7-day forecast. Overall, a pretty warm trend of weather, 80s for the next few days, in the upper 80s Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be a warm July out there, Gary. A pretty nice one so far, too, though we have a mix of sunshine in between these storms and downpours. It could be worse. We'll enjoy the heat.
That's for sure. Today looks beautiful, though.
Yeah, not too bad.
Eric, thanks. While a new clinic in Illinois
Tonight with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. Nice day out there.
Yeah, nice day. The heat, humidity are going to continue to build as we head throughout the week. We're going to keep an eye on the radar over the next couple of days. Tonight, it's quiet, and we're expecting temperatures to stay on the warm side. We've got a lot more humidity that's going to build as we head throughout the week. Current temperature 79 degrees, the humidity dew point 65. These numbers are going to be going up over the next couple of days. We're tracking heat and humidity throughout the week, along with scattered thunderstorms beginning tomorrow afternoon, as well as Friday. And the big story, this heat is sticking around as we head into Boilermaker weekend. It is looking to be one of the warmest Boilermakers in a long time, with temperatures starting out in the 70s Sunday morning. Mostly cloudy skies this evening, temperatures in the 70s. Again, a pleasant evening, but again, it's going to feel a lot less comfortable here going forward if we're going to look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
1 week ago today, Utica Police.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're tracking an increase in heat and humidity over the next couple of days, and with that comes the risk for a couple of thunderstorms. Now, tomorrow afternoon, the overall severe weather risk is low, but it's not zero. We do have to keep an eye on things. There could be some pop-up thunderstorms in the afternoon, most likely producing locally heavy rain. That's my primary concern. There's not a lot of wind in the environment tomorrow, and so some of these storms, if they do come together, could produce some pretty heavy rain over the same area. We'll be watching that over the next couple of days with a much higher humidity as it continues to build in across central New York. So again, something to watch, but not quite to the level of an alert day. If that changes, we'll pass that along. Looking ahead to the weekend, Boilermaker Sunday. A quick preview here. For race day, for the start, it could be very warm. Temperatures look to start out in the low 70s Sunday morning, and we should quickly rise. So probably one of the warmest Boilermakers in at least the past several years. And there also could be some thunderstorms later in the day. We'll have to keep an eye on that and keep you updated because, again, that is something that's in the process of developing. We'll keep you updated. Bigger picture, quiet across the area. There's one lone shower in Madison County. We could see an isolated shower this evening, but I think most of it stays dry. Reminder, you can get weather alerts to your phone by downloading the Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Sunshine finally starting to break out after a generally cloudy day. 79 degrees in downtown Utica. The humidity is up. Dew points up to 65. This is going to continue to build over the next couple of days. It feels humid tomorrow and Friday, and then downright tropical heading into the weekend. Temperatures across the region, warm. Westmoreland 81 degrees, Little Falls 85. Across Southern Valleys, Cooperstown 81, Oneonta 79. We are tracking a stalled front in central New York, and it's weak, but it's going to be enough to produce a few thunderstorms over the next couple of afternoons. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, overnight lows drop down into the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies, chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. High temperatures in the mid-80s. Tomorrow night, the weather looks warm. Overnight lows in the mid-60s. And Friday, we get to do this again. Could see an isolated shower or rumble of thunder with highs in the mid to upper 80s. Mostly cloudy tonight, low of 66. Tomorrow, a few scattered storms are possible, 84. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It's hot this weekend. Temperatures will be close to 90 degrees both Saturday and Sunday. Some thunderstorms are possible Sunday afternoon. Widespread storms Monday, and then we warm back up. Temperatures in the upper 80s Tuesday and Wednesday.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Bill. The grim mission.
Again, Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are getting a better picture of this, and it's looking very warm and very humid. It looks like temperatures are going to be in the 70s for the start, which is a lot warmer than last year. Last year, we were in the mid to upper 60s, so we're thinking this is going to be about 10 degrees warmer than last year. And there could be a few thunderstorms. We think the chances are going to be later in the day, but it is something we'll have to watch too. It is still several days out, so we're going to need a little bit of time to kind of put this together forecast-wise. The weather leading up to the weekend is going to be warm, and it's going to get warmer with each day and more humid. Temperatures generally in the upper 80s heading into the weekend. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Most of the area is quiet, but you can see that one lone shower in eastern Madison County. Aside from that, weather this evening looks pretty quiet. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s to low 80s. If you're taking the dog out for a walk, a little bit more comfortable as we head towards sunset. Tonight's featured dog Grover from North Utica. If you want to be part of this, head to Skycast WKTV on Facebook. This is brought to you by Nissan. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. The State Department is investigating an
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're talking about hot and humid conditions heading into the weekend. We mentioned how Boilermaker could be a very warm one this year, but let's look at the chance for rain and give you an update here. Yesterday we mentioned how there was some question marks as to whether or not it was going to be wet the start of the race. Well, we are getting some new data, and it is trending less wet. It's more of a delay in the rain. It looks like the rain is more likely to be here in the afternoon. We obviously have to keep an eye on things because we're still a few days out here in the world of weather, and things can often change. But it is trending drier. Unfortunately, it's trending warmer as well, with looks like temperatures during the race will be in the 70s this year, which is a lot warmer than last year. The weather looks great if you're looking to get out and do some grilling. The next couple of evenings should be pretty quiet. We have a couple of thunderstorm chances here, but I don't think it's going to slow you down if you're looking to do that. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. One lone shower in eastern Madison, southern Oneida County. Other than that, it's pretty quiet. Reminder, you can always get weather alerts on your phone by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Current temperature downtown Utica, 79 degrees. Turned out to be a mostly cloudy day. It's been pretty warm. Well, that heat is going to build throughout the rest of the week. And in fact, the temperature trend is looking very warm into the weekend and very warm next week. And temperatures look to be above average. I know it's summer and it's supposed to be hot, but this is going to be hotter than usual. And that does give us the chance of even more 90-degree days at some point next week. Skywatchers checking in. Bob and Clinton, 80 degrees. Micah New Hartford, 82. Don in Norway, 82. Inlet, Eric, 75. Paynes Hollow, Frank, 81 degrees. And Dave in Westford with 80. As we look at the bigger picture, we have a stalled front in place. It's producing extra cloud cover locally, some thunderstorms to the south. As this front kind of just hangs around, it'll give us the chance of seeing a few pop-up thunderstorms over the next couple of afternoons. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast tonight. Overnight lows drop down into the 60s, a warm night. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies, the chance of a pop-up thunderstorm. Temperatures climb into the mid-80s. Any thunderstorms that do develop could produce locally heavy rainfall, so it's something we'll be watching. Tomorrow night, overnight lows drop down into the mid-60s. Tomorrow, Friday, looking at partly sunny skies, hot, humid, temperatures in the upper 80s. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 66. Tomorrow, the chance of a thunderstorm. Again, keep an eye on things if you're going to be outdoors, because these thunderstorms could develop pretty quickly in the heat and humidity. Temperatures in the mid-80s. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. An isolated storm Friday, 86. 88 Saturday. It's hot, humid throughout the weekend. 89 Boilermaker Sunday, and remember, that's in the afternoon. Thunderstorms expected later in the day. Widespread storms Monday. Temperatures stay in the upper 80s, looking ahead to early next week. We'll be right back.
Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Turned out to be a pretty nice day today. We're keeping an eye on the radar. There are a couple of isolated showers that have popped up, mainly across southern Oneida, southern Herkimer, and northern Otsego County. These are moving east. These don't last for long, but again, a brief shower is possible this evening for some of us. 81 degrees is the temperature out of Griffiths and Rome. Dew point 64. We're going to see the heat and humidity build throughout the week. It's going to turn increasingly more humid over the next couple of days, and our storm chances increase too. We'll have a few pop-up thunderstorms starting tomorrow afternoon and continuing sporadically into the weekend. Boilermaker trend, it's looking very warm, it's looking very humid as we head into the race on Sunday. I'll have an update on that. Mostly cloudy skies this evening. Again, an isolated showers possible. We are tracking that very warm week ahead. A look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
1 week ago today, Utica police started.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're keeping an eye on the radar for tomorrow. We have the risk of a couple of thunderstorms. They're scattered, which means not everybody gets them, but a few of them could produce locally heavy rain. It's not quite to the level where we would make it an alert day, but if you're going to be outside, just be aware of the situation. Again, in the afternoon, a few thunderstorms could develop, and because the winds are moving very slowly in the atmosphere, I think flooding, in other words, the locally heavy rain could be the primary issue here, along with some gusty winds. Again, we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Boilermaker Sunday, the latest trend does look drier for race day, at least for at least during the race. But the problem is it's looking very warm and very humid. Temperatures look to start out in the 70s Sunday morning, which would be a very warm and very uncomfortable race for runners. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. One lone shower south of Utica heading to the east. Other than that, it's pretty quiet out there. Reminder, you can always get weather alerts to your phone by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. 81 degrees, a live look in downtown Utica. Some sunshine. You can see some cumulus clouds billowing to the east. The humidity is starting to creep up. Dew points in the 60s now. Those numbers go up throughout the rest of the week. It's going to feel downright tropical as we head towards the weekend. And that trend is going to stick around. It looks like this warmer than average weather is going to be around here in the Northeast for the foreseeable future. Skywatchers checking in. Whitesboro, 82 degrees. Micah, Hartford, 82. Jeff and Mohawk, also 82 degrees. Skanevis, 83. Cooperstown, Stewart with 79. There's a weak front that's stalled in central New York, and that could produce a couple of thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. It's not a very strong feature, which means it's not going to produce a line. But again, we could see a few rumbles of thunder tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures start out in the 70s. We'll climb into the mid-80s on Thursday. And a shower or thunderstorm is expected in the afternoon. Tomorrow night, the weather looks very mild. Overnight lows drop down into the mid-60s. There's still the chance of an isolated storm Friday, a lower chance compared to tomorrow. Mostly cloudy tonight, low of 66. Tomorrow, partly sunny. A few scattered storms in the afternoon. Again, some locally heavy rain is possible with any of those storms. 84. Storm Tracker 2's 7-day forecast. It's hot. It's humid throughout the weekend. Look at this. 88 Saturday, 89 Sunday. It's very warm to start out Sunday, so a very warm and humid Boilermaker. We're watching the afternoon for possible thunderstorms. Widespread storms expected Monday, and it's still very warm next week. Temperatures close to 90 by Wednesday.
All right, all that all-important forecast for this weekend. The closer we get to it, the more fine-tuned it
Absolutely.
is.
We'll keep an eye on it.
He's not even worried.
Well, he's a runner, too, so he brings a unique perspective.
Ready to run?
I'm not ready for the humidity.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill. Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6. Time now for a first look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. It's going to get soupy here for the next couple of days, right?
Yeah, the humidity's on the rise. It means that it's going to be a lot warmer at night.
Yep.
The days are going to get warmer, and we're also going to have a few thunderstorms to go along with this, too. So get ready for a midsummer pattern here across central New York. With the thunderstorms, let's break down the risk for severe weather. It's not an alert day. We're not going to go that far here, but we could have a couple of scattered thunderstorms that could produce some locally heavy rainfall. And I think that's the primary concern. There's not a lot of wind in the atmosphere tomorrow, so if storms do develop, they might end up just kind of sitting in place here. And I think that could be a problem, just depending on how that unfolds. We also have the chance for some gusty winds with this, too. Live look at the radar. Things look pretty quiet out there. Clouds have kind of taken over, but there is some clearing to the west. In fact, Griffiths and Rome is looking at clear skies, temperature of 71. We'll slowly cool off. We've got some very warm weather in store over the next couple of days. In fact, look at the weekend. We'll be in the upper 80s both Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, that's Boilermaker weekend, which means it is going to be toasty for the race. Tonight, overnight lows drop down into the mid-60s. Probably need the fan tonight and get away without using the air conditioner. But that's not going to be the case for some of these nights ahead. We've got some very warm weather ahead. Look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. At least 119 people dead and more than 150 still missing after the catastrophic flooding in central Texas. Rescue crews are battling challenging conditions and high temperatures as they search through the devastation, especially along the Guadalupe River. New tonight, Maribel Gonzalez is in Kerrville with the day's developments.
6 days after deadly flooding ravaged central Texas, dozens are still missing as search and recovery efforts stretch into the night. The community of Kerrville left reeling from the tragedy.
The screams is what haunts me. Every time I close my eyes, I hear people screaming.
More survivors are sharing their stories. Fear and confusion consumed neighbors as the floodwaters rose.
My husband kept yelling at him, "Throw me your baby, throw me your baby," so he can save the baby. Everybody was disoriented and they did not know what to do.
More than 100 people are confirmed dead, and that number is expected to rise. Some of the victims were children. As the nation mourns for the victims and their families, criticism is growing against the local, state, and federal response to the flooding.
I just view this loss of life in such a mass way as being totally inexcusable. And I believe that there were failures at every level of government, and no one wants to be held accountable for it.
Kerrville officials say they're willing to face the tough questions, but right now they're focused on finding the missing.
After you all go home or go to the next story, we will still be here. We live here.
In Kerrville, Texas, I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
And we continue to follow the flood recovery.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We have the chance for a few thunderstorms as we head into tomorrow. A couple of these storms could produce some locally heavy rainfall along with some gusty winds. And the timing of this looks to be in the afternoon. So again, if you have any plans outdoors, not a bad idea to be weather aware. It's not an alert day, but it is something that could still cause some issues, especially if one of those storms happens to be in your location when you're outside. Looking ahead to Boilermaker weekend, it does look drier, but unfortunately it looks warm. Looking at temperatures in the 70s for the start of the race, which is a lot warmer than last year. And the past couple of years, we've been really fortunate with cooler weather, but I think this year's going to play out a little bit differently. As far as the rain goes, again, it looks like there'll be some showers, maybe a few thunderstorms later in the day. We'll have to watch those too, but again, the primary concern, at least this far out, is the heat and humidity. Bigger picture, or at least I should say tonight, a couple of sprinkles out there. Otherwise, it's a pretty quiet night. Reminder, you can always get weather alerts to your phone by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Quiet conditions outside downtown Utica, 71 degrees. The almost full moon is out tonight if it's not too cloudy. The moon turns full tomorrow night. It's the full buck moon. Dew points in the upper 60s. That's why it's so warm out there. The humidity being high means it takes longer to cool off at night. The long-range forecast keeps warm weather around. I think we're going to get into this. We're going to continue this above-average temperature trend into the middle of July. Bigger picture shows a weak cold front in place. That's going to create a couple of pop-up storms tomorrow. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies. Overnight lows drop down into the mid-60s. Tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny skies. And again, a couple of pop-up showers and storms are possible, especially east of Utica. Warm and humid, temperatures in the mid-80s. Tomorrow night, overnight lows drop down into the 60s, partly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy on Friday, an isolated storm, a very warm afternoon, high temperatures in the upper 80s. Mostly cloudy tonight, low of 66. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies, scattered storms, 84. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It is hot and humid over the weekend. While I think we'll be below 90, but really not by much, maybe just 1 or 2 degrees Saturday and Sunday, and it'll feel like 90 with the humidity. Overnight low Saturday night, 71. That's important for Boilermaker Sunday because that's a warm start.
Yeah.
And again, a couple of storms could be firing up in the afternoon. We will keep you posted.
So yeah, 86, 88, 89. And with the humidity, it might as well be a heat wave.
I know, exactly.
We're just talking.
Feels like versus air temperature, it's like a technicality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's summer, so we should be used to this by now, right? Coming up next, the best 15. Time now for a first look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. The humidity is going to tick up.
Yeah, we're looking at really uncomfortable conditions here over the next couple of days. With the rise in humidity comes the chance of a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Tomorrow afternoon, there is the chance. It's not to the level of an alert day, but if you are outside, you'll want to be weather aware tomorrow. Any pop-up storms that do develop could produce some gusty winds. And with very little wind in the environment, I think flooding could be an issue, especially if those storms kind of get stuck over the same place. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. Live look outside, things are looking pretty quiet. It's warm, it's pretty comfortable out there. Temperature of 69 degrees, just a few high clouds out there. The humidity is going to keep temperatures from falling as much. We're going to get a warm. We're looking at warm conditions over the next several days. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s as we head into the weekend. Tonight, overnight lows in the low to mid 60s. Might be able to get away with a fan tonight, or maybe the air conditioner. We are tracking much warmer conditions ahead. We're also previewing Boilermaker and how that race could shape up weather-wise. That's coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. At least 119 people confirmed dead and more than 150 still missing after the catastrophic flooding in central Texas. Rescue crews are battling challenging conditions and high temperatures as they search through the devastation, especially along the Guadalupe River. New tonight, Maribel Gonzalez is in Kerrville with the day's developments.
6 days after deadly flooding ravaged central Texas, dozens are still missing as search and recovery efforts stretch into the night. The community of Kerrville left reeling from the tragedy.
The screams is what haunts me. Every time I close my eyes, I hear people screaming.
More survivors are sharing their stories. Fear and confusion consumed neighbors as the floodwaters rose.
My husband kept yelling at him, throw me your baby, so he can save the baby. Everybody was disoriented and they did not know what to do.
More than 100 people are confirmed dead, and that number is expected to rise. Some of the victims were children. As the nation mourns for the victims and their families, criticism is growing against the local, state, and federal response to the flooding.
I just view this loss of life in such a mass way as being totally inexcusable. And I believe that there were failures at every level of government, and no one wants to be held accountable for it.
Kerrville officials say they're willing to face the tough questions, but right now they're focused on finding the missing.
After you all go home or go to the next story, we will still be here. We live here.
In Kerrville, Texas, I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
We continue to follow flood recovery efforts.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We are tracking the possibility of thunderstorms tomorrow. A few of these could produce some locally heavy rain. We think they're going to form in the afternoon, and they're going to be scattered, which means not everybody gets these. If you're going to be out and about, make sure you're weather aware. An easy way to do that, download our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Looking ahead to the Boilermaker weekend, it's looking very warm and humid. There could be a few showers around. We think it's going to be mainly in the afternoon, which could take the form of some thunderstorms. But for the race, it's trending very warm and very humid. Temperatures look to be in the 70s here as we start the day. That's about 5 degrees warmer than it was last year. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, things look pretty quiet with, again, just a reminder, tomorrow's storms. If you haven't already downloaded our app, it's pretty easy to do. It's an easy way to get weather warnings on the go. Live look in downtown Utica, temperature of 69 degrees. There's the almost full moon hiding right behind the banner here, hiding behind a few high clouds. The moon turns full tomorrow night. Temperatures are in the upper 60s this evening. High humidity, dew point of 66. It's going to mean very uncomfortable conditions here over the next couple of days. It's been above average in June, above average in early July, and it looks like this trend is going to continue. So looking like a hot summer here in central New York. We've had 5 days in the 90s so far. That's the average. We're already there. We could be adding a few more of them as we look ahead. Bigger picture shows a very weak front in place that could produce a few scattered storms tomorrow. Tonight, overnight lows drop down into the mid-60s. We start out with partly sunny skies. Tomorrow afternoon, again, a pop-up storm is possible, especially east of Utica. High temperatures climbing to the mid-80s. Warm tomorrow night. Overnight lows drop down into the mid-60s. Friday looks partly sunny. There's an isolated shower or storm in the forecast with highs in the upper 80s. Mostly cloudy tonight, low of 66. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies, scattered storms, 84. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It is looking hot this weekend. Temperatures in the upper 80s Saturday and Sunday. Again, we're watching for the possibility of storms Sunday afternoon. Widespread storms Monday. Temperatures climb back into the upper 80s Tuesday and Wednesday.